Welcome, Dynasty people, Bunkbed breakdown fans, supporters. We appreciate you. We're back with another episode of The Narrative. But before we get started, man, Noah, hit that intro. This week's narrative: NBA Top Shots is a fad. It's a scam. It's not going to last. Here's what I think about this. All right. I think the people that say that are the same ones that are slow to adapt anytime there's new technology or new things coming out. And I used to be like that. I'm a skeptic. I'm someone that does not believe in new things. But I really changed my mentality of going back a couple of years, with crypto and all this stuff, because it's not really important like what you think, right? Or what I think, what individuals think. What's more important is trying to understand like what like society and the masses think, because that's really what's going to drive demand. Personally, I think that the concept that NBA Top Shots is built on, of a moment, like an electronically collectible art, I would call it, right? Digital art that you can collect. I think that is not a fad, right? Because I think, like sports cards. Sports cards have been around forever. I'm sad that I only learned about it like last couple of years, but sports cards have been around forever. Art collecting has been around forever. And if you think about the people that are coming up now, like the generation that have like a lot of money, is like, startup founders, tech guys, like finance bros, like, business owners, stuff like that. The ones that are growing up after us, like they are growing up in the digital age, right? So they're used to like playing games and having like in-game purchases where you buy digital goods. They're used to like, buying add-ons in your, in your like movie libraries. They're used to buying add-ons for your subscriptions, and everything is digital now, right? And you're buying add-ons in your Wii, your PlayStation. So it's not that insane to think that the transition is going from physical goods, from a collectible art and cards perspective, to a digital one. Because let me tell you about the digital benefits, right? And we talked a little bit about this on the first episode of the Top Shots show, but the advantage you have with NBA Top Shots and digital arts over that of like a sports card cannot be cannot be overstated. Like I'm in the sports cards trading game, and it is incredibly frustrating having to wait for like deliveries, having to ship your shit off to like get graded by some fucking nerd in a microscope at PSA, right? And then wait for it to get it back.
Yeah,
And
he had
that
Cheeto
process,
dust on his finger. Now your
yeah, he's
card is
got
like
cheated.
worth $700 less than it should have been.
Yeah, exactly. The guy's like eating Cheetos or mac and cheese and just accidentally touches your card or something. Like, dealing with that type of stuff is incredibly annoying. Not only because you have to wait for stuff, but because you have no control over the price within that time span. If you send your card off to PSA, and let's say you send your card off to PSA and that dude blows his knee out tomorrow, you're fucked, right? It's over for you. Like, you're
Mike, you
not
know
gonna.
what's funny? When you said you send it to the guy and he blows out his knee, I was thinking the card grader blew out his knee. It's like, oh damn, he can't grade the card now. He's got one knee.
Yeah, exactly. You're really subject, and like up and down games, if you want to like trade more frequently, which is what both Noah and I do, like you're not gonna be able to take advantage of that, because you got to deal with like shipping and bidding on eBay and taxes and all this stuff, and like you got to like ship it priority mail. You got to physically go to a fucking FedEx shop, put your card, and you got to like protect it with like a cardboard box, like another cardboard box. You got to like build a fucking fort around it, like you're like 5 years old. Like all those inefficiencies and time wasted is gone with NFTs, right? You don't have to worry about like people faking cards, because all on the blockchain is verified as part of the transaction. So it just alleviates so many barriers, and I think that alone, convenience alone, is means that it's here to stay, because people are inherently lazy. I am inherently lazy, right? You are, I mean, I'm assuming you're also inherently lazy, but like most people want to do stuff that takes the least amount of effort. So by lifting those types of barriers to entry, you're going to get more and more and more demand, and more people investing in the space. And personally, I don't think it's a fad. I think it's here to stay. Now, whether it's NBA Top Shots or another company that takes that trend and really captures it and dominates it, I don't know. Like maybe NBA Top Shots might not be the one, but they're the only player in town right now, and they're getting all the eyeballs. So for now, I'm a believer in the asset. I'm a believer in the movement, and I'm a believer in the moments.
Yeah, and I also think like it would be really hard. I obviously don't know how hard, but I feel it's really hard to get the rights to these players' cards, the rights to like older moments too. Because like I know in NBA games, video games, right? It's like hard to get. I think like Charles Barkley doesn't want to be in the games. Like he's not even featured in it. The fact that they have like older moments and they were able to convince like the NBA Players Association that ownership over those type of cards, I think is extremely hard. And the fact that they've already made that step and they're, very early on in the process and they have done those things, one shows that they're legit, and two shows that, I guess, not that it's super hard to do it, but I think that they will have kind of a monopoly on this type of content. And as you were saying, like, it might sound stupid to say, oh, I own this moment online. You can go onto YouTube and type in Michael Jordan best highlights and see a moment from his career where he dunks it off of like a Scottie Pippen missed free throw or whatever. But at the same time, like if this is actually legit in the long run, say you have kids like 10 years down the line and you're like, oh, look at this John Morant highlight that I own. Instead of going on YouTube and being like John Morant best plays, you're like, oh, I own this moment. Let's watch it together. I feel like that's just like a cooler way to present it. It might not be worth like $10,000 like people are paying right now, but I do think that it'll make more sense as this continues to go along. And I think a little like myself as well, like I was skeptical. I'm like, why would you buy this when you can just go on YouTube and find that moment? But I think, as Nick says, like, college, you pay for college for the organization of it. I think NBA Top Shots, it's the same thing. Like, you can go online and type in like best plays of Keldon Johnson's career, and like 10 years on the line, it'll be like a mixture of plays. Whereas in NBA Top Shots, you could own a moment that you found yourself to be extremely important or extremely cool and exciting, and you can just go and type in Keldon Johnson in your collection and watch it over and over instead of going on YouTube and watching a collection of highlights that you don't really care about. So I think the organization of it all and the fact that it's such like a first to market type of thing, and like nobody thinks that it's viable or legit right now. Like I'm sure when sports cards first came out too, people are like, why would I want this cardboard cutout of a guy whose face I can just watch on TV or hear about on radio? And then 100 years later, Honus Wagner selling for like $2 million at auction. So I said in the comments last time, scared money don't make no money. I'm a pussy. That's why I'm broke. But I'm kind of invested into this. I do think that there is a legit upside to it. And if you want to join the Discord, they like promote it all the time. You can see how many people are truly invested. They talk about the market, and it's like an actually very helpful community. Like they're like, oh, how much should I list this LeBron card for? How much should I list this Miles Bridges card for? And people aren't out there to scam you. They're like, oh, well, we've seen cards trend around here. People will actually like post charts of cards value trends over time. And I think getting into it now is almost a no risk type of thing, unless they're like complete frauds and steal your money. Because myself personally, like I put in $50. That was what I was willing to risk. And I already like 7x my money in a week. So even if I lose like however much money, as long as I get my 50 back, I'm like, okay, at least it was a cool experience. Like the chances of you like making none of your money back, I think at least this early on in the process, if you want to play the long game instead of flipping short-term investments, I think, as long as this site stays around, you are in very good hands because these cards only seem to go up. Like Dave Portnoy says, stocks only go up. NBA Top Shots just like all go to the moon. It makes no sense right now, but I think jumping in right now, there is a little bit risk to it, but I don't think it's a fad in the same sense that people thought, sports cards were a fad back in March, and then throughout the entire summer, people are making good money off a box break. So although it may not make sense to you, a lot of people are adopting it. And once it becomes an international game and people in China are investing, people, in Asia, Africa, Europe, or whatever, because it is a global game and players like Derrick Rose are huge in China. Guys like Steph Curry are huge in China. Once that market jumps in and the population, which is massive over there in terms of NBA fans, jumps in, I mean, the sky is really the limit in terms of how much money you can make on this type of platform.
Yeah, you brought up the Discord chat. I actually haven't spent that much time in there. How does it work? Like when you trade in there?
I only like check the general. Like if I go on the website and it's not loading, I'll check general and people are like, oh, the website's down. So they're helpful in that way. But other times people will be like, I'm selling this card with this mint number. What would you sell it for? And I've seen people like post the Zion Williamson block, like the trend over time. It started out at like $50 and now it's like 3,500. So I don't go into all the different channels or all the different chats. I just usually stick to general, and they have like slow mode enabled, so it's not like a million messages at once. But I think there's other ones for like trading and stuff where you can post your card and you let people know how much you have it listed for and the number it's up there for, just to like draw awareness to a certain player.
Yeah, can you like I was actually flipping around the other day. They have like a buy sell marketplace. Like, how do you actually sell direct, or do you have to like post it and then someone buys it? I
Yeah,
don't.
I think you'd just be like, oh, I have a Desmond Bain mint number like 243, cheapest one up there. Go buy it if you're interested, and somebody will go up there and buy it. So I don't think you directly do it. There's also gifting, but I'm not so sure. Like you just gift somebody and then they like Venmo you money. I'm not sure if that's how
No,
you
they
do
would
it.
send you Ethereum, I think.
Maybe, yeah, maybe something like that. Yeah, that would make more sense. But Yeah, I'm not sure what the point of that is if you can just like post what card you listed up there.
Yeah, I think because you take a when you sell it, they take like a marketplace cut. I think they take like
Mhm.
5% or something like that, and then also it costs like another. I don't know what the cost is to withdraw from Dapper yet, so there's another cost down there on the back end. But yeah, I mean the Discord's like pretty live. I muted it just because like it's too many fucking messages, but I could totally see like basically creating a marketplace like trade cards, right? Like you start off with sport trading cards, you go on eBay, and I spent like a ton of time on eBay just looking at prices and stuff like that, but eventually you move into like the secondary market. Hopefully people aren't freaking scammers. So yeah, that's kind of how you got to deal with it. But that's the risk you take. So I'm probably gonna stick with the marketplace. I don't want to get scammed. I'm totally okay paying them the 5% to make sure I get my money back. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
and
I
in the
mean, look,
grand scheme
it's
of thing, like we talked about it on our last episode, like the money that you've made off of like John Morant's and Zion Williamson's, like 5% to make like fucking 3,000 on one flip. It's like take my money. I
yeah,
don't give a shit.
yeah, exactly. So look, I understand like people are like hesitant and they're like, oh my god, like what are these kids doing? It's like stupid. Like just because you don't understand something, and I still don't understand it, by the way. Just because you don't understand something doesn't mean there isn't demand for it. Doesn't mean it's a fad, and doesn't mean it's a scam. So take the time to understand it. Like if you do your own research and you're like, yeah, this is stupid. This is a scam because of X, Y, and Z. Like the transactions are fake, whatever. Like fine, have that view, but give it a chance. Don't write it off because it's new and foreign to you. I think that's just a tip in general when it comes to investing. Like personally, I'm always very open to these type of like esoteric, super weird and out there types of investments because stocks and stuff is great and all. But I like to kind of diversify my portfolio with some of these like other ones where you can get really outsized returns. And it's something that I'm gonna be spending a ton of time on and something that Noah's gonna be spending a ton of time on. So, we'll kind of like share our findings with you guys. But just know that like, we're not here like fluffing this shit up just for clicks, right? Like we have money invested and we are very, very legitimately into this market. So we're going to be spending the time. Just know that we're putting our money where our mouth is. And if you guys follow around with us and, you kind of get the benefits of what we learned throughout our time here.
Yeah, and this video is coming out Thursday morning. We're having a second video. We're recording it right after this, where we kind of talk about just what's happening in the NBA right now. It'll probably be a quicker video. And also another thing, like Mike said, is like you can hold us accountable. Like our accounts are, I think you can like look it up. I'm not sure what my username is. I can like post it in the comments if you guys really like want to check me. Like I don't have crazy money in there, and I'm not making like the most wild flips and shit like that. But if you want to keep me honest and you think I'm just like fluffing up random players to make my own self money, one, I don't have that type of pull, and two, I don't have enough money in there to be able to like become a millionaire off those transactions, then I guess you can go and check it. But as he said, we're both very invested in it, and I think that there's a whole lot of potential, with the downside being whatever you make it. Whatever you invest is the downside that you put into it. Me putting in $50, that's a downside I'm willing to take on for the upside and the potential that I truly believe this has.
Yeah, and you can find me at my username's everywhere, so it's Mike Me Up. The same thing as on Twitter. If you guys want to go look at my transactions, look at my cards. No, I'm not bullshitting. Like they're there, man. Like I have a significant sum of money invested in this. I just bought a Jalen Brown like rare moment yesterday for like I don't know. I think I spent like 3,600 or something like that. So this is real. Chances are, if I lose, all my money that I put in this, I'll be a sad panda, obviously. But I think the risk is kind of worth delving into because, I think the worst thing here is to just completely ignore this as a market and just ask how that went for people that ignored crypto. And they're just looking like foolish right now. So, make sure you get in there, dive in, and hit us with messages, man. Like comment below, let us know what you're doing. I'm sure some of you guys out there probably know more than Noah and myself. So again, just engage with us, subscribe, thumbs up, follow Noah, follow me. That's all we got for you, man. Be out.
Peace.